I just spent the last hour building an entire presentation only with AI. No design skills, no templates, nothing. I fed the same presentation notes into Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok. Some produced disasters, some produced compelling visuals, and one outperformed the rest. And I'm going to show you everything, the full process, every failure, and the AI that actually delivered for this presentation. Let's get into it. Okay, so the very first step we're going to take to build a presentation with AI is going to be grabbing notes. So right here, we have a bunch of notes for another video that I'm actually preparing for. So I wanted to give you a live walkthrough. There is no presentation ready. It's going to be from scratch. So we're going to start from nothing and I'm going to end up with something that I will actually use in a video. So these are the notes, right? So these are the notes for the video that I've written up. What we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to pass it to AI to assist with the process of creating the slides. So I'm going to copy all of this. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up a series of options. So I have Claude, I have ChatGPT, I have Grok, and I have Gemini. Now I open up all of these because we want to take a mindset of abundance. We're going to try a multitude of models to see all the different options they provide back to us. We're going to pick and choose what we like the most, and then we're going to selectively make edits. So what we need to do is we need to copy and paste this into one of these, and I'm going to paste it as plain text. So I've actually did a Control V and it gave me this pasted section. I'm going to remove that. I want to do Control Shift V. We want to have plain text, and I'll show you exactly why in a second. So I could put that down first. And then I'm going to give a dictation to it to tell it exactly what I want it to do. So I need your assistance in creating a presentation. This presentation is going to have a series of slides, and you're going to create this presentation, these visuals, in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, each of the slides have to be minimal on text. We're really focusing on different types of animations, visuals, diagrams, and charts. And I want you to make sure that there is a way to navigate through the slides with the arrow keys back and forth. And that visualization of those keys should be in the upper right-hand corner. And then we should have chapters on the center left-hand side so people know where they've been and where they're headed. And the reason we want to be minimal on text is I'm going to actually annotate on top of the screen. I'm going to draw on top of the screen. So we don't necessarily need to have a lot of text there. I just need enough to remind me of what I want to talk about for each one of those slides. Also note that we don't have to reinstate the title and the visuals because we're going to talk about that at the beginning. We're going to jump right into the content. Okay, so I've used dictation to basically convey everything I just wanted to convey to the AI, and you just heard it as well. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to push enter. And also note that I have Sonnet 5 turned on. So I'm actually going to duplicate this. Reason being is we're going to run this with Sonnet 5 with extended thinking on, but we're also going to run this with Opus 4.1 with extended thinking on. Reason being is they come up with different visuals each time. Then I'm going to paste this into GPT-5 thinking. I'm going to make sure that Canvas is turned on along with extended thinking, and I'm going to actually do it as heavy. I'm going to push enter there. We're going to do the same thing for Grok. I'm going to make sure that I don't pay for Grok, so I'm just going to use the expert version of Grok. And then for Gemini Pro, I don't pay for this either. And I'm just going to use the 2.5 Pro option. I'm going to make sure that Canvas is turned on here as well. And the reason we're making sure Canvas is turned on and for each, both ChatGPT and Gemini, is we want it to write code in Canvas so we can preview it in the browser so we don't have to take it out and then preview it elsewhere. And while each of these work, because you can see they're all working actively right now, it'll take between 2 and 5 minutes. And what I'll do is I'll show you some things I've included in the notes. So if I do a control find for brackets, I sometimes include brackets in the notes, giving a visual cue. So for instance, this one I've given a visual cue of saying I want a line chart with intelligence declining with the context window getting fuller. So this is a visual cue for the AI to know what to add in this segment and the idea that I have for it. So if we do some more searches, we can see there's another visual cue here. There's another one down here. So I have different visual cues throughout, and I add those as I'm writing out the content. And you can see Sonnet 5 or Sonnet 4.5 finished pretty quickly, and it's a fast model, so it does finish quickly. Sometimes it degrades for the visuals, but you can see these visuals aren't horrible. I'm not a big fan of the fact that it just has mistake 6 and then a text, so I prefer more visuals for those. But this isn't a bad start. And also, I appreciate the fact that it followed the instructions for some of the visual cues when it comes to those line graphs. Now, here's Grok's output. You can see Grok's output is much worse compared to Sonnet when it comes to the visualizations. So when that happens, when it's like really, really bad and not good at all, I'm actually just going to delete it. And one thing I forgot to mention in this prompt that I've given to the AI is I want the visual to be high contrast between the foreground and background. So what I'll do is I'll actually duplicate this instance of Claude. Since I know that it performed pretty well, I'll start a new chat. I will then paste that in, and I'll come back up here at the top, And I'll say, can we please make sure that the foreground and background has high contrast as well for each one of the visuals so it's easier to understand what we should be looking at? Okay, now that I've done this, I'm going to do enter on that, and that's going to go to 4.1 Opus. But we can also come back here, we can duplicate this once more, and we can drop this into Sonnet 5. So I'll start a new chat, change this to Sonnet 4.5, do enter, and then we'll wait for that visual to come up as well. Quick pause in your regular programming. This video is brought to you by me. So, two things. First off, below is a 30-day AI Insight series, completely free. You'll get 30 insights in your inbox of how you can apply AI to your business and your work. The second thing is if you'd like to work with me, I have a series of offerings below to see if there's a good fit between the two of us. With that being said, let's dive back into the video. And we can come over here and look at Gemini and see how 2.5 Pro Gemini did. So you can see it added an animation for this first slide, which is nice because that's what I wanted. I wanted to animate the decline. They've added additional visuals for this mistake, which is good. This one's pretty good as well. So the visuals here are actually not bad. There's different forms of animations. This is a common issue sometimes where when you have the AI create a slide that has a lot on it, it starts to run off vertically. So that's something we would fix later on. So like I'm not mad at this 2.5 Pro version. So this isn't bad. We can work with this. We'll see what the other ones come up with and see how it kind of stacks up. So here's the 4.1 Opus without the high contrast. We can see what they did here. So you can see they have a like a purplish blue, which is a thing that Claude really likes to do, that coloring. I'm not a big fan of the numbers. The numbers are like kind of faded in the background, but some of these visuals are nice, which I appreciate. So like this audio visual is pretty cool. But besides that, the rest of these aren't that great. So sadly, Opus 4.1 didn't do great here. It often does do good, and I usually use a lot of the outputs from 4.1. But right now, it looks like 2.5 Pro is winning from Gemini. This is the second iteration with high contrast requested. You can see it now, it's black and white, so it's much easier to understand. If we go to this one, that looks like it animated for a second, but when you go back, it doesn't animate. So maybe it only animates once, and that's something we would need to change. And when you look through here, you'll see a lot of these are emojis. It's a big fan of emojis and just using that as the primary segment of visuals, but it's still not super intuitive and or interesting. And this is really confusing. It's not what I wanted and not going in the right direction. So 4.1 again failed us, which is saddening. Let's see how Sonnet 4.5 did with high contrast. So this visual is pretty cool. I like that. This, maybe we'd have to figure out how to make that work. This visual is nice. This is a good one. So we just got to figure out a way to make it always ignite when we roll to it. So there's a few things here that I would change, right? So I do like the visuals. I like the aesthetics, the coloring. I like the high contrast. So I like this turquoise blue with like the dark background. So that's the styling I would go with. And I'd probably use this presentation as the base. Let's finally check ChatGPT to see if it did anything better or worse compared to the others. So it's going with purplish colors. And I think it's because it knows what my brand colors are for my company. So it kind of follows that pattern. This animation here is pretty neat. I like that. I actually really like that one. This one's super cool. So this animation basically shows you which one is the fastest, and then it kind of dictates it based off of the time it would take the ball to go across the screen. That's really cool. But I mean, like this is another cool thing. So we can take a few ideas from this one and add it to the others. So for instance, I like slide 2 from this. So I would probably take slide 2 and I would take slide 3 and I would incorporate that into this, no, not this one because I like these visuals. And I'm probably going to throw this one away if there's nothing I want to keep from it. So there's nothing here I want to keep, so I'm going to throw that away. Gemini does have the advanced voice mode, I think, screen that I like. Actually, on second thought, when I go through Gemini 2.5 Pro compared to what I got from the others, there's nothing here I want to keep, so I'm going to get rid of Gemini 2.5 Pro. I will go back to this one to see if there's anything that I wanted from this variant. So I did. I wanted slide 5 from this. Okay, and then for this instance, there was nothing I wanted to keep, so we'll delete that Claude instance. So we have this one, this one. Okay, so you can see what's happening here, where I have a base presentation. So I like the visuals of this one. This is good. We can go with this. Then I'm going to take components of other slides. I'm going to incorporate it into this slide deck. So how do we do that? Well, the first thing we have to go through and figure out what elements need to be fixed immediately in this base instance. And then we'll figure out how to incorporate the others in a second. Okay, so I made a few edits here in the text, and these were all written out. So I wrote remove the title slide, the first one, remove the large numbers from the background. I'm not a fan of those. And then I asked it for on slide 8 to figure out a way to show the levels because for some reason they're running off the screen. So I wanted to figure out a show these levels here on this chart. So I'm going to have it make those edits. And I don't want to have too many edits happen here. And the reason is that oftentimes with the canvas feature, when the code is edited, it is edited in place, but the context window fills up pretty quickly within this conversation, and the AI degrades in its ability to make edits effectively. So I'm only going to make a few edits inside of Claude and or any of the other tools. And I'm going to move it outside of this onto my desktop, and I'm going to start making edits with another tool such as Claude Code, Codex, or Cursor to continue the edits of incorporating the other slides into this existing presentation. So as you can see, it made the edits I asked. So it removed the numbers from the background, it removed the title slide, and now for that one slide I wanted it to edit, it added the levels here, but it's still not great. But we're not gonna make any additional edits here because of the context window getting too full. So I'm gonna copy this code out. So if I go here, you can download the HTML or you can just copy it onto your clipboard, and that's gonna give me the actual code in the background. So you can go to the code and look at it from this little code button or select the eyeball and it shows you the visual. And to do this, I just created a folder called GPT_mistakes in my desktop on my Mac, and I added 3 files. So I have an index.html, which is this base presentation that I showed you. It's that code. Then I have a viz1 and a viz2. So the viz1 represents this presentation, viz2 represents this presentation, which is the GPT-1. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use probably Claude Code to assist in the process of incorporating the things I care about these two into this one and then making additional minor edits to the base template. So to do that, you're going to use the terminal. I'm going to go into Claude Code, and I set up an alias called YOLO that basically has it run without permissions. And I'm going to come back here and figure out exactly what I liked about this one. So I liked the advanced voice mode animation. And I think that was the only thing that I wanted to keep from this. So that will be easier to start with. So I'm going to say, this is our base presentation. So I'm going to say this is our base presentation. I'm going to add this. I want to take the advanced voice mode slide animation, and I should probably say from, then I'm going to add the other one. So when I'm adding things like this, I'm basically telling the AI that this specific file is the base, this specific is the file that we're going to pull the animation from. And then we're going to say, this is our base presentation. I want you to take the advanced voice mode slide animation from this file and incorporate it into our base slide, replacing the base slide advanced voice mode slide, I guess. I don't know. Voice mode slide. Ensuring that when you incorporate this, it matches the same styling as the base. And then I'm gonna, yeah, sure, why not? I'm gonna say UltraThink. So a few things here. So I used UltraThink because it's going to have extended thinking switched on for this specific model. But I've also typed this out instead of dictating it because I wanted to add these files. So I wanted to add index.html, and I wanted to add the viz1 HTML. So it knows exactly what files I'm referring to. It's going to go off and make those changes. So what I can do in the meantime while it's doing that is I can open up that file. So if I open up the index.html file, it's going to open this up in the browser. So Firefox, Chrome, etc. And I'm going to see it inside my browser. So when edits do occur for this, I'll see what edits are changed. And you can also see it in full screen because, for instance, when we were looking at this inside of Claude, you couldn't see the level 4. It was cut off. And that's because this can only extend so far. So for you to see the full visual, the full animation that's expected of this, you want to be able to actually open up a browser and see what it looks like. And you can even zoom out and zoom in to see what's most suitable based on the zoom level for the presentation you're having. And one issue I can see here immediately is that for some reason there's just a random 8 here in this abundant slide. So we obviously need to remove that. So it looks like it finished this already. So let's actually come in here and refresh it. Go to the advanced voice mode, and there you go. It's added the advanced voice mode feature that we wanted, which is pretty cool. The next thing I'm going to do is the minor edit here. I'm going to take a screenshot of this, and I'm going to pass it over to the AI to look at. So I'll drag and drop that screenshot into the folder. I'm going to give it some instructions. I'm going to move this over here so I can see what I'm saying.
So for the abundance slide, the screenshot attached, there's two things that we need to figure out. Actually, three. One is, can you remove the random 8? There's a random 8 in here we need to remove, the number 8. Also, the animation here should happen every time we come to the slide. So either going backwards to the slide or forwards to the slide, the animation should always unfold. And then finally, the levels 1 through 4, it's really hard to, I would say, depict this on the slide without overwhelming the image. So I'm wondering, is there another way that we can show these levels without overwhelming the slide and still making the intuitive point of the purpose of those little segments? So I'm going to send that dictation off to the AI and it's going to do its thing. Okay, very cool. So it removed the 8. It updated these. So now they're animated. So when I hover over it, it shows the specific text that we want to call out. So in the video, as I do the video, I can actually hover over these and call each one of these, which is actually a good addition. And that's that edit. So now what we want to do is we want to come back here and make some additional edits. So you can see this is running off the screen at the very bottom. This axis at the very bottom says horizontal. It should be usage frequency. It's running off the screen. So what we need to do is we need to take another screenshot of this, drop it back into our AI, and have it fix that. So you can see from the screenshot that I've just shared with you, on this specific slide for minimal use, the bottom axis that's horizontal across the screen is coming off of the screen. So we need to both shrink down the overall chart so it fits within the window for the browser, and then move things up a bit so it fits perfectly. So when I'm talking through this, you can see everything on the screen without it running off the screen vertically. So I'll send that off, let it do its thing. Okay, so you can see that it shrunk it down a bit too much. Now it's hard to see. I could do one of these where I just increase the size of the window to talk about the specific slide, but I feel like we could do better. So I'm going to share this with the AI, give it a little bit of feedback. So for this slide, you've shrunk it down, but you've shrunk it about too far. So it's too small now. The text is too tiny. We need to make sure that it's bigger than it is now, but smaller than it was in the past. Big enough for us to show this on a video so people could easily read the text and understand and intuit what's being shown on the slide. And this is the process. We're just going to go back and forth with the AI, incorporating those small bits that I want from the other decks into this one. And then I'm going to make small tweaks on here around the visuals and make sure that it's easily to understand. So after I've done this and I've gone back and forth with the AI, once I'm finished, what I'll do is I'll then present this as a presentation on a video. And then if I want to share this with other people, you can use GitHub to do so. And I'll show you how to do that. So when you go to GitHub, when you sign in and all that stuff, you want to click your profile, you want to go to repositories, you want to create a new repository. To do that, there will be a big green button here that says new. And once you've clicked new, you'll set up everything. You'll make it public, the repository. And once you've made it public, you'll just follow the instructions. And then you'll have an empty repository. To add this to your repository, you could do one of two things. You can either ask the AI for assistance, or you can just come in here. You can say add file, you can say create new file. You want to name it index.html, that's important. And you're going to paste in all the code for that presentation. Once you've pasted all the code in and you've saved it onto the repo, you're going to go to settings. Under settings, you're going to then go to pages. You're then going to go to this option here for the branch and you're going to enable this. You're going to say, yes, I wanted to run this on the main root. So you'll say accept or save. And then it's going to take probably 2 to 5 minutes. And then after 2 to 5 minutes, you're going to have a URL that pops up here and says your site is live. So when you select this, anybody that goes to this URL is going to have access to that presentation you just created. So this is an old presentation I created a while back, but it's important to note that this is possible to create and really anybody can do it. And you can create really compelling presentations with AI's assistance. And that's it. That's the secret sauce. So if you enjoyed this, please share it with your friends. Like I said previously, two things. One, below is a link to a free 30-day AI Insight series. You'll get 30 insights in your inbox of how you can apply AI to your work and your business. The second thing is, if you'd like to work with me, I have a series of offerings below to see if there's a good fit between the two of us. With that being said, you should check out another video around here somewhere that the YouTube gods think that you'll love. And I'll see you next time.